Good morning. Good morning. As Martha said, my name is Kevin.
Hi, Kevin.
I'm a person in long-term recovery. What that means for me is I have not had a mood-altering substance since November 22nd, 2009. If I do my math right, that's about 10 years. So not only am I a person in long-term recovery, but I'm also a father of 2 wonderful kiddos. And I'm also been fortunate to be a husband of over 27 years to my wife, Carrie. Don't tell anybody, but it's Carrie's birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday. So, some of you, this is the first time I've shared my story here, and since Pastor Ryan, I believe, was here, and so I have this odd sense of humor, and so Carrie married me even despite that. So it was about 30 years ago, we were celebrating Christmas over at her grandparents' house, and they're Norwegian, and they've got all this Norwegian lutefisk and lefse and everything, and so they handed me this plate of lefse, and they go, "Lefse?" And I said, "Sure, lefse, rightse, it doesn't matter to me." Either way. They're still getting married, so I know, it's this disconnect. I go into Starbucks and I order a grande non-fat mocha, and then the gal will go, "Hot?" And I go, "Well, thank you." And so, but, all right, so back to my story. Sorry about that. So as I mentioned to you, my story began on November 22nd, 2009. I was actually in an airplane. And what I would do is I would buy my way up to the front of that airplane so I could drink for free. I was a frequent flyer, and I owned a home in Hilton Head Island, South Carolina, and I was coming home from what was, I thought, a wonderful golfing vacation. And on this particular night, I couldn't figure out why it wasn't working. And my drug of choice wasn't able to medicate it, wasn't able to numb away this pain that had persisted in my life for a very, very long time. No matter how much of the free stuff I had, it wouldn't go away. And then I had a moment, and my higher power decided to intervene, and I heard a voice, and that voice said, "That's it. You're done. You're through." And it wasn't those words, but it's essentially what the essence of that higher power spoke to me. So I grabbed a pillow and a blanket, and I curled up in a ball, and I cried like I'd never cried before. Completely freaking out, mind you, the guy that was sitting next to me was trying to pull away as much as I could. Part of me felt relief after that night. However, there was a part of me that I didn't realize how much worse my life was going to get. See, I'd taken away the medication that I was using. I managed to hang on for about a year of this sobriety. However, I was suicidal, I was depressed, I could barely function. I was sober and miserable. 13 months after becoming sober, I was referred to the Meadows, which is by a therapist I was working with. I had been diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder and major depressive disorder. The Meadows is a world-renowned trauma facility in Wickenburg, Arizona, where my journey began there in January 2011. Part of my recovery involved coming face-to-face with the years of abuse and neglect, trauma I was exposed to as a child while growing up in rural Wisconsin. I was always too ashamed to speak of the violence that I'd been exposed to, but the horrors that existed in my childhood still consumed me consciously and unconsciously well into my adulthood. A majority of my abuse was at the hand of my father, who was diagnosed as a paranoid schizophrenic. He was also a chronic alcoholic, and he would become violent when he drank. And then the problem was he would drink daily. Well, at the Meadows, I did a lot of what I called unpacking. I was provided the tools and the skills to come face to face and being able to process the horrors of my childhood. I had a therapist there who told me I was a 1%er, and somehow I'd survived that. I was also afforded the insight on how trauma lives in our bodies and how it's stored in a primitive part of our brain well after the actual event. Things started to make sense. My life started to make sense. During the time at the Meadows, I befriended a counselor by the name of Bobby Pepper. What a great name for a counselor, eh? Bobby worked overnights, which was a good thing because I struggled with sleep. I see it, Bob, I'll be done later. It was not uncommon for me to be awakened in the middle of the night with night terrors. It helped to have someone to talk to. One night in particular, I was sharing with Bobby an experience in which my father was choking me out. I was about 7 or 8 years old, and I decided I was going to intervene with the violence that was going on in my household. As he had his hand around my neck, he said, "Kevin," he goes, "what are you going to do about this?" And at the time, it was nothing. I felt hopeless, scared, alone, and worthless. Bobby asked me, he goes, "What are you going to do about this?" And I said, "Well, maybe someday I can help other people. Maybe someday I could actually work at a place that's similar to this." I shared with him that I wanted to be a therapist. After my stay at the Meadows, I decided to give it a year before making any changes with my life, becoming a therapist. But I knew in my heart that's what I really wanted to do. The problem was I was faced with another demon. When I graduated from high school, I was told I was too stupid for college. And then I would best stick in the trades and all of that. And I was told that by a guidance counselor. In the fall of 2012, I decided to go to college, the very first time in my life. I was 47 years old at the time. I was scared to death. It took me 3 years to complete my associates, another 2 years earning my bachelor's, and then later this month, I will graduate from Adler Graduate School with my master's in engineering psychology with a focus on Turns out I'm not that stupid either. While I was working on my associates, I earned honors. I earned an academic scholarship while working on my bachelor's. And then I'll graduate in a couple of weeks with a 3.9 GPA. I'm not saying that for applause. I'm just saying that if anybody's lied to you in your life and told you something that you believed for 3 decades, that hopefully you'll do something different as well. Adler was the founder of Adlerian psychology. Adler felt that everyone needed to find their sense of purpose and belonging in their life, which has led me to my life task. Today I work in a men's residential co-occurring facility providing gender-responsive trauma-informed care. That's a clinical and fancy way of saying that I help others now unpack with their lives. The growth and change that I've experienced in my life has not happened without pain. My family has made a lot of sacrifices to allow me or us to be where I am today. No one has sacrificed more than my wife, Carrie. There are some days that I struggle to make sense of my life. Some days I ask myself what the hell I think I'm doing, and that's my father's voice still. While I have not relapsed on substances over the past 10 years, I've had many emotional relapses in my life. Usually they involve selfishness, being self-centered. One particular relapse with my emotion in particular led to Carrie and I being separated for a year. There are many of you in this church who intervened and supported each one of us during a very difficult time in our lives. Thankfully, we were able to reconcile, and I'm very grateful for a second chance with my life partner. In my current line of work, I'm frequently asked to come up with a diagnosis for a patient. Well, I've diagnosed myself as a pain in the ass. She'll agree to that. Today, I'm grateful for second chances. I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for this church. I'm also working on forgiveness. I was able to forgive my father. I celebrated his death about 6 years ago. And I don't mean that in a mean way, but I mean that in that he was finally able to set aside the torment and the pain and the terror that was going on inside him that allowed him to do what he did to his own family in rural Wisconsin. I also forgave that guidance counselor who told me that I was essentially too stupid to really amount to anything. And I forgive him as well because I didn't really give him much evidence to support otherwise. I was a drunk little shit that showed up for school and was in trouble. That's the honest to God truth. So of course you're going to think that of me. I also need to thank Martha. So I had sent her an email one time. She had actually emailed me, and I bounced back and I said, Martha, there's probably things that people do in their lives that are unforgivable. And she said, that's not true. And that was enough to hang on to for a little bit. Thank you, Priscilla. Priscilla entered into Carrie and I's life at a time that was very delicate and fragile. And if it weren't for you two very powerful, beautiful women, I wouldn't be where I'm at here today. So I probably would have given up. So thank you.